but my goodness, the bags under my eyes were atrocious. They kind of like photos be showing the parts that you just really don't want to be like highlighted. It's a little dark. This lamp isn't as bright as my ring light, but it'll work for now. I've been wanting to do this live stream because I'll be chatty, but I just wanted to kind of get certain things out of the way. Especially, I fully moved out of my former apartment and I got settled in here, and I've just been on the move so much, which is a good thing because I haven't had like the time to sit and dwell on certain aspects of it. Though I did have my moment of being sad. I had tears and feeling all sorts of emotions because that's just not something that I would have wanted to have happen. Good morning, Rose. Good morning. So I'm gonna. All right. So okay. This Sunday, I've had the opportunity of speaking at a church. It's called St. Paul's Baptist Church here in Columbus, Ohio. They invited me to a spoken word event that they had for their women's ministry back in, I believe, November of last year. And from that, I met Dr. Weaver, who goes to Mount Olivet Baptist Church. And they invited me to come twice to their church. And she went back and told Sister Melva, she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that I came to your original spoken word event and that I got to meet Sabrina." Thank you, Rose. And Melva was like, "Can you please come on Sunday and be our keynote speaker? Pastors heard about you and the women's ministry. They're really excited to have you back." And so I called my spiritual mentor, as he is known now. His name is Musa, and I always find him in the produce section of our local grocery store. And I called him and I told him, I have an opportunity to minister at a church, but with everything going on, I really don't know how I can use that as inspiration to provide faith or to encourage other people because, the feelings that I'm having about this situation is like, no, and but I want to keep moving forward. And obviously, this opportunity is before me for a reason, and I want to use it wisely. So he told me to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, which states, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." So he was saying that this door is closing. You're no longer out of that apartment. You had to move, and he was just telling me to maintain the perspective that it's just it's just opening the door for greater things. And I'm like, okay. So what the reason, of course, for the eviction is non-payment of rent. In October, I was let go from my position. I worked with a company called Encore. They were an audio-visual company, and I really liked the work. I have to say, as an adult, it has to have been my favorite job that I've been able to participate in so far. I really enjoyed the work. I loved it. The downside to that was it was an event based company, so the only time that we would have definite hours is if someone had something booked and they needed our services. And there would be a lot of downtime during the summer, especially, where we did not have enough hours. I was making good money an hour, but if you're not being scheduled to work 40 hours a week, it doesn't matter the hourly rate because I'm not getting the most of what I can possibly make. And then there were other times where I would work and it would be like, over 50 hours in a week. And I didn't like that because it interrupted my parenting time with Layla. My schedule was all over the place instead of being consistent. So it wasn't ideal. And they ended up letting me go because the position that they had available for their customer experience coordinator, it was new and they just realized they didn't need that. So it's at will employment here in Ohio. Then, about halfway through the month of October, I did start working at two different restaurants. They're family owned restaurants. And I wasn't able to, work long enough to get rent for the following month, which was November. So when November rolled around, about 2 days, like 3 days before the cutoff, I got a call from Brandon, Layla's dad, and he was concerned because he didn't want to have to pay this attorney that represents Layla any more money uh, throughout our divorce hearing, because we're still in those proceedings. And I told him, even if I had $1,000 to give to Michelle, I would pay my rent first. But right now, I don't have that, and I could be facing eviction. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with that. So he said, I'd rather give you the money to pay your rent. So hold on, let me do that. He said, I'd rather give you the money to pay rents, so long as you sign the divorce papers before I give you the money to pay your rent. And at that point, we were still negotiating child support. This paperwork wouldn't have had child support in it. And I didn't want to sign it like that. But I was like, I got to keep a roof over our heads. So what am I going to do? Like, be like, no, I went ahead, I signed the papers, and I gave them to my attorney, and then Brandon put the check for the rent in my hand. But I reneged because I was like, I believe that child support should be in the documents. So December came, I was able to work enough to get rent paid. But then at the end of December, on the 20th of the month, our one of the employers from the restaurant, not one of the employers, I'm sorry, the owner of the restaurant, she decided that she wanted to close the restaurant for 2 weeks until after the first of the new year, and didn't provide us any severance pay. And I had been planning to use that money to pay my rent, at least half of my rent from, combined with the other restaurant. And I was going to do some Uber Eats, but it wasn't going to be that much of a deficit, maybe $200. And I was like, okay, I'll be able to pay rent on time without getting any fees this month. And that was completely blown out the water. And when that took place, I just wasn't able to recover from that. So, and I knew it was coming. I was trying to see if there was ways that I could, avoid that, but it took place. Uh, I hate that he messes with you verbally. uh, I dislike a lot of things, but it happened that way. So, the policy at my apartment complex is that they do give you a grace period. After the grace period, they start charging fees, but the 10th of the month, they do not accept rent after that point, and they immediately file the eviction process. And she called and she let me know, hey, that's what I'm going to do. And I said, okay. I did try to let her know that I get paid on the 12th. Is there a possibility that you'll accept the money on the 12th? With the fees and stuff like that, and she declined. So at that point, the money, while the balance is outstanding, they charge you $25 a day that you're late. We had the eviction hearing, and what she was willing was to accept back rent for the month of January, February's rent, and then the fees for the back rent. But she was only going to let me stay till the end of February and not let me finish out my lease, which at that point I was, it was clear that I wasn't going to renew there. I've been living there for 2.5 years, and there is no hardship clause or anything in there. Or Ohio is really a landlord state, from what I've learned. We have rights as tenants, but it's really for the landlords more so than the tenants, unless you have a landlord that's willing to work with you. There are community action programs that help you if you're backed up with your rent, but it's not always as easy to get into because everyone is out here needing help with rent. So trying to get into those programs is tough. They are down at the courthouse, but the apartment manager that I had, she said that she didn't accept third party help. I did have someone lined up to help me pay, those things so I could stay to the month of February, to the end of February. However, they were like, if she's not going to let you finish out your lease, then, we don't want to help you with that. We much rather help you with the deposit for a new place and the first month rent for a new apartment. Yeah, they do. Some of them do, not all. And then also I was getting advice from my lawyer and my sister, and they were like, if you're going to pay all that money, you might as well find something new. Use that money to get into someplace else, and or sit on it until you find, get someplace else. Of course, with the difficulty here is that I have an eviction on my record. However, there are private landlords, and that's the direction that I'm going into. I'm just here until April, and then I'll be making my move. Until then, I'm just working out the details of my plan. But I was like, damn, like, I've been working real hard, but what I thought was, while I was in the process before it even came to her telling me I had to leave, um, I was like, man, I'm paying all this money a month because my rent, was 1028 for the 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom that we had. It had gotten up to that point. And I was like, man, I'm paying all this money a month for something that I will not own. And if you don't meet their terms, they could put you out for something that you've been investing in for years, on just like that. And and it sure happens. Um, I guess I'm just trying to figure out what's next. Trust and believe. I had my moments of like, oh my goodness, oh, I failed. And oh man, this couldn't have happened at a, more inconvenient time. I think getting put out is at any time is inconvenience. You know what I'm saying? But I did, like I said, I did try to stay at least until the end of February. I tried to stay out the rest of my lease, at least, because I was like, I think I need to find something a bit more affordable anyway, because rent isn't the only expense that I have. And also, when it comes to Layla, like, I'm not getting any child support. I've been trying to get child support or even his help with certain things. He started to help around the holidays, but when I said I wasn't ready to sign the divorce papers, he decided, you know what, I'm not helping you anymore. So there's nothing I can do about that. And now, why didn't you go, Asher? Um, I've gone to churches. I've trust and believe. I have gone. Somebody told me about the YMCA. I'll have to ask them about their oh, thank you, Rose. I have to ask the YMCA about their programs because I'm not familiar, but Melva mentioned the YMCA to me as well. They said that they can help you get like Section 8 or something, and I have to look into applying for Section 8 if that'll help. But I have gone to churches. Just trust and believe. I've gone to my own church, and my own church, all they tell me is, oh, have you heard of Impact? You need to call Impact. My friend says you should call Impact. Impact is another community outreach like HUD or the Urban League, or and every pretty much every place you go to is sitting there saying, oh, we're out of funds for rental assistance. Impact, you can't apply for their programs. Oh, and I got to make a phone call to AEP today to cut off my electric. Almost forgot. I got to do that. Yeah, I got to cut off that electric. But yeah, you have to make an appointment before you can apply to Impact. It used to be available online, but you have to make an appointment. And every day that you call, it's like, oh, our appointment is filled today. Please call us back tomorrow. So it's just they're out there, but it has to be your lucky day to get in with those, because everyone is all over those programs. But my church wasn't helpful. I reached out to the other church on Mount Olivet, and then I reached out to Miss Melva. Miss Melva had more of a strategic, tactical approach to everything, to try to to help me avoid it. One of the cases for my eviction is being dismissed because they filed twice, and I turned over the keys before they had to, put the red sticker on my door. So it'll be dismissed, but it'll still be on my record as though for them to file it. So that's still an obstacle that I have to get over. but I'm still applying for stuff, and thank you for the reminder about YMCA. I'm just not familiar with them, but I've had conversations about saying that I could get help through there. But today I start my new job because now, of course, they want you to make 3 times the rent. And I have been looking for months for something to replace what I had prior. It's just now something's opened up for it. So I'm going for it this morning. um, mm, the only thing that I can pretty much say is, like I said, it happened at an awkward time. Brandon knows about it. And so he decided to tell his lawyer, and then they decided to tell the guardian ad litem. So now, instead of having everything set in stone for our agreement for the divorce, we're going back to court. It could lead to trial because you know, we're not in agreement. It's now a contested divorce. So we have a court date March 13th. So, I mean, even without them, I'm still getting a new place, uh, and I still have a roof over our heads, And I mean, looks like we're going to continue to fight this out in court. Um, and what else? I just know that I'm not like I'm not upset as much as maybe I should be, but I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I'm just more so. I tried to stay. If I was meant to stay, then I would still be there. Obviously, someone else needs that apartment now, and my time is up, and I'm meant to be someplace else. And all I can do is keep moving forward. I'm doing my best to trust the process. I do have my moments where I get nervous, especially when I think about another court date for this divorce. I at least thought that was going to be done, where we didn't, have to involve these folks in it, but it's not. However, I keep telling myself, the fear that I feel, don't let him get away with anything. Oh no, all I have to do is just keep showing up, stand my ground, keep working. Of course, their angle is that I'm not stable and stuff, and he wants to be a placement parent and all these other things. So I'm just gonna have to show up, stand my ground, and keep working in the meantime. The fear, if when I do feel a sense of fear or scared, I just realize it's because in my mind I'm already at a certain conclusion of everything, and I can't. I should not jump ahead and already declare, oh, defeat or something like that. All I can do is keep my energy here in the present with me, because I need all of my strength. I need all of my peace. I need all of my focus to be here in this present moment, because this is all I am guaranteed to have right now. And put that energy forward into working on my life, continuing to work on my life. I don't see this as a setback. I just see this as a continuation forward. When I tell you this feels much better than what happened 3 years ago, like, this feels so much better than what happened 3 years ago. Uh, and Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, I was getting, I was in heartbreak, getting put out by my husband, and the whole cheating thing, and I mean, starting over. I mean, it was complete heartbreak. This feels so much better, and I feel so much stronger, and I feel absolutely capable that I am handling this. The day that I went for the day after I went for the eviction hearing, and I was trying to secure, the money to, do that deal with the lady. The day unfolded in a way of, it was like I said, it was like, okay, instead of being able to stay, it moved me out. And my best friend showed up, Muhammad showed up, his friend showed up, and we was getting everything out of there. I put I got my stuff where it needs to be in storage without having to pay for storage fees, and this room opened up. So it just, the flow of life that day was, okay, it's time to move. And I was watching Little House on the Prairie, And Layla, it was a reel actually. It was this episode, the first episode of season 2 of Little House on the Prairie. And Laura had punched Nellie in the nose. And Layla was watching the reel and she was repeating after Laura. She was like, you turn your nose up at me, Nellie, you're getting punched. And I went home and I watched the episode because I was like, I don't remember this episode of Little House on the Prairie. And it was when Charles Ingalls, he had been working this job for 2 months and he was not supposed to get paid until after the job was done. So he and his wife, thank you, Andrew. He and his wife, they were like, okay, we'll be able to pay off our debt at the Olsen store. Come to find out, the company that Charles had did all that work for, they ended up going bankrupt, and his boss, Lars, couldn't even keep the mill open. So not only did Charles not get the money that he earned, but he lost his job. So he had to go home and tell his family, and they knew that they had to face Harriet Olsen, for not being able to pay their debt on time, or when Caroline said they'd be able to pay. So he's sitting up on the edge of the bed. The family's up trying to figure out what's going on. I love that show. His wife was sitting there seeking to console him, and I'm just looking at them from this perspective because they're in it and I'm not. So I see that this is only season 2 out of 9 seasons of this show. And I'm thinking, do y'all realize that this is just one of many seasons of things that y'all are gonna have to go through? Like Mary hasn't even lost her eyesight yet. Like you have so many seasons more to go through, so many ups and downs and triumphs, and and I just was like, I need to apply that to my own life. There's so many seasons of my life that I have been through, and so many more that I pray that I will continue to get through. But I have to know that this is just a season and this is just a moment. And I'm not the only one who's ever experienced this kind of moment of having to move out, and having to, start over someplace else and keep going. I have to keep a great attitude about it. And know and understand that I'm completely capable. My complete faith and trust is in God and in myself. I have a wonderful group of people who support me. My best friend Jordan, I was sitting there like I was feeling like crap, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, man. And he was like, girl, I want to get like you. And I said, what? He said, you want another adventure? I'm jealous. So this is just another adventure. And even in the midst of all of this, there's still a lot of life going on. Layla's still growing up, and I love our relationship. You too, Rose. My dad told me when we were talking the other day, he was like, I got evicted. And I was like, Dad, you got evicted once? And he said, yeah. He said, the marshals came, and he said, I went to go get a friend to help me move my stuff out. When I came back, they threw everything out in the hallway. And he said, I lost a brand new television set that I just bought. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. Yes, and this is why I'm doing this live stream. I talked to my mother-in-law, and I even posted a picture on the community page because she had mentioned like 3 years back when I started doing poetry, open mics, that she would like to come. And I knew I was going out to the Dayton Poetry Slam, and I was like, well, maybe she might have time to come by and check me out. But I was so nervous to ask because I was like, I don't know if her stance has changed, or because a lot took place. And but she would always text me often and say, I'm here for you if you need me, still, in spite of everything. And I would just tell her, thank you. uh, thank you. And I, part of me was doubtful, not from her, but just because I was like, I projected Brandon's stuff onto her, thinking, kind of putting them in the same boat. She is his mother. She loves him. Of course, she will always, be there for him. So I was just kind of like just nervous about it and thinking that it's just all about Layla, and I'm just the ex, and stuff like that, and I don't want to overstep anywhere where I'm not supposed to be. But she still acknowledges me as her daughter-in-law. It's factual at this particular time. And she came. I sent her a message and I said, she thought, she was like, oh, Layla's welcome anytime. And I was like, well, actually, I was going to ask you if you wanted to come to this open mic with me. And she was like, I'd love to. And hey. I was like, hey, and she came and we had such a good time, and we talked, and I told myself, I'm not, this isn't about me trying to ask about Brandon or anything like that. I just want to keep it to like, how are you? How have you been? How's work? Like, and stuff. She did speak to me. I want to keep that, but what I will say that she shared with me is that she apologized to me. She did, like, she apologized to me, and I wasn't expecting that. And I was thinking that she didn't owe me one either, but she did, and she explained it to me in a way that I understand as a mom. And she told me two things. She said not to ever take Brandon back under any circumstances. She said, don't. She said, nope, I don't care what he say. Don't you ever go back. And she told me that I do not owe them an apology. They owe me an apology. And I even told her what I was going through as far as my living situation, and she checked in with me the day of my hearing to ask me how it went and stuff. I understand that, like, I understand, like, she's there, but I don't want to, like, abuse that or anything. So, but I appreciate that she's there. Layla's actually at her house. She doesn't have school today, so she's staying the night. But she came out and she supported me. And I don't know why I went down that line of talking, but it's it's gonna be okay. I don't know. It's just on my mind to talk about. I so very much appreciate that, and how far, we've all come. And yes, keep my guard up. Now I remember why I mentioned it. I know I come here on YouTube and I do talk and I share my personal stuff. Anything that, what I've shared with her is nothing that I don't feel comfortable sharing on my YouTube channel. I don't share everything. So I know that when some people watch and be like, oh, you shouldn't say I don't say everything. I only share what I feel comfortable sharing. Um, and nothing, and I firmly believe that anything that I have shared thus far isn't anything that I can't stand on. Whether I told Brandon about the eviction or not, or whether I do a YouTube video saying that I'm facing this process, it's still happening in my life. Mm-hmm. Um, I didn't, like, Shan, I didn't tell her anything that I can't tell Brandon myself. I didn't tell her. I'm not an open book. Or I'm not, I don't know, I don't think I'm not stupid, but there is nothing that I have told, that anything that I'm telling you, she can come here and see herself. Brandon can come here and see themselves. Other stuff like strategy with my attorney or anything. Now, I'm not saying that on YouTube. Like, stuff like that. Or what me and my attorney talk about. Like, that to me is stuff that, no, I don't share that with anyone. There's a whole lot of stuff that I don't share. But anything that I say on this channel, or that I say to her, or that I choose to say to Brandon, and Brandon and I, we don't talk unless it's through text about Layla anyway. I don't have in-depth conversations with her like that. We just have casual conversation and stuff. But I would absolutely not. I understand the category that that's in, and I absolutely know who I'm dealing with when it comes to Brandon. I just know that I'm not going to have anyone hang anything over my head. Whatever I do say or whatever I do share, I will stand on it. Whether I say it out loud that I'm going through an eviction or not, it's still happening in my life. And again, this channel and when I do these videos, they are for me. I am in love with my own journey. And I know that, and I pray that years from now, as I get older, and Layla, she watches the channel too, she'll be like, oh, mommy, look, it's Sabrina Faith. And should something happen to me, hopefully this channel will still be here. And if my daughter's curious, like, what was mom doing at this time? What was going on with mom? That she can see that and she can connect with it. And like I said, prayerfully, years from now, when I look back at this live stream and be like, whoa, like those, wow, those days, I remember those days. And I remember how I got through that and look where I am at now and how much I've grown since then. So these are for me. And then also for anyone else who wants to tune in, who is going through certain things and aspects, or who anyone else who wants to come in here and testify and be like, girl, I've been through it, but I came out on the other side, or I'm still going through it and I'm going to come out on the other side. I'm already on the other side. What I went through emotionally 3 years ago, like I said, is nothing compared to here. And you look back at certain situations and be like, oh, that was just, it was so big at the time, but now it's like, oh, that was a piece of cake. And this is just another one of those instances where I'm just like, I feel extremely empowered. Um, and I'm going to keep the faith. That's always the biggest message. Keep the faith no matter what, you go through. And also have great people around you who are going to keep you encouraged, because I'm not a perfect human. I have my moments and I breathe and I be like, oh, but the only time I fail is when I stop, when I give up, and I'm not going to give up. And Ecclesiastes 3:1. This is what I'm writing my message on for Sunday service. I'm still meditating on it. I have a great poem that I plan to recite for the church as well. I just hope to be able to bring I just hope to be able to bring positive message, empowerment, to whoever's meant to hear me on Sunday. And this has been a dream of mine. I always, before Brandon, before I ever met him, before even my mom died, I always wanted to be a poet evangelist and recite my poems and travel to different, locations, especially, churches, and be able to recite my poetry. And now I have another opportunity to do that. I mean, so it's just a beautiful thing. And there's also things, I'm reciting poetry tomorrow night. I have 2 shows coming up in March that I'm actually getting paid for. I don't get paid for everything. The church is paying me. But even in spite of what I'm going through, I'm still growing, and there's still life to be lived, and still so much to be thankful for. I am completely blessed, because to move and have a place to stay, that's a blessing. Not many people can say that. You pass by folks who are out on the street, and I'm just thankful that, I'm not out on the street. Uh, I'm just so blessed. And that's what I wanted to come on here and say. I am blessed. To everything, there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. I am blessed, and I'm thankful. I feel strong. I feel mighty. I feel beautiful. I feel powerful. And just so grateful. God has the final say on everything, including what I'm going through. And I just want to keep growing and keep residing in thankfulness. That's really all I wanted to say. Document this moment. And me too, Shan, me too. It's just until April, and then by then I definitely intend on being back in my own spot. I have definitely got to make a move by then. Like I said, I have a court date coming up. Not sure how that's gonna go, but it's gonna go. It's gonna go. But the main thing is I can't be there in the future. That's anxiety. Anxiousness is because I've stepped into This is that song from the Birds. It's to every, I think it's called To Every Season. Okay. I can't be there. I have to be here. I need all my energy to be focused and to be here and let that day take care of itself. I mean, that's what the Bible says. Let tomorrow be tomorrow. I don't even know if I get a tomorrow. I just know that I have it today. And I got to put my best foot forward today, all of my energy and all of my focus, all of my love, all of everything I have into today, and to be thankful for today in this moment. And I am. So let me go ahead and get myself up out of here for my new job. It starts at 10, and I want to make sure that I grab me something to eat because I'm hungry. All right, but thank you all for joining me on this live stream. Y'all know I'll be chatty, but I will be back Sunday for a live stream to talk about General Hospital. I have not watched any episodes this week because I've been just running around, but I'm gonna catch up, and I can't wait to discuss it. It might will it be Saturday or Sunday? I will be. We will chat about our soap this weekend. But you all have a blessed day. Take care. Whatever you're going through, keep the faith no matter what. Okay. Keep the faith. It's going to work out the way it's supposed to. Bye.